And here we are. Okay, welcome. How's everybody doing? All right. Let's get ourselves strapped in here. You can hear me okay? Good? Okay, awesome. All right, Ben, Dom, Allison. I'll assume that Ghetto Reese is going to run a little bit late, fashionably late. Like, there's Roger. And we have some news. Right, there we go. Roger, how you doing, man? All right. Okay. Let's come on in here, Roger. All right. So, Ben, you weren't on. You guys were both there. Allison, you were there. Roger was there. Dom, you were there on Monday. So, are you getting something from that call? Good. Yeah, it's really it's like a slightly different kind of feel, but I think it's especially when you have all the other people there sharing their stories. It really, I think it's helpful. You know, you can really see what's happening. Ben, you should jump on if you're able to. Roger, are you with us yet or what? Just give us a sign because I got to get going. We got a lot of stuff to do.
Yeah, no, I'm here.
You're okay. So pop your video on as soon as you can.
Yep.
All right, awesome. So Rosario had to drop out. So say some prayers for him. I don't know. He said he had personal problems. You know, it happens, you know, because this is a deep dive into like you know. And sometimes it's a little too much too soon for people when they start understanding what it actually is. But I would do you a disservice if I just played it on the surface level. That's why we go into the material that we go into, especially in an intro class, because that way you get to know, you know, all right, what's the realness of this thing? You know, what's the realness of this whole, you know, industry and everything, right? And if you're going to go out to LA, you're going to have a lot of people out there that are just, you know, super talented. I mean, honest to God, like it's like you are probably really smart and really good at what you do. But when you get to LA, it's like levels have to be raised up, you know, things have to be optimized because the cost of living is different and it's a hustle, you know? So I kind of want to really make sure that everybody's prepared for that. So it's not like a wake up call when you get there, right? So it's just, it's like, okay, yeah, I knew about that. I'm prepared. All right. So let's do a quick relaxation just so that everybody can, you know, get in tune with themselves. So just do the one where we squeeze everything for 5 seconds. And when you release it, make sure you release it with movement and sound. The movement can be anything that you want. I would particularly use your face since we're all on kind of face cam, you know, like if I did it, I would scrunch my face and then, right? I would move my face in all directions. If I could, my ears, my forehead, my hair, everything that I can move, I would, right? Because once you get the camera on you, you're going to start feeling like areas where you're kind of holding tension and stuff. So here we go. So I'll just say go. We'll do it for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then at 5, we'll just release it with movement and sound. All right. And you can even use your hands if you want to, like, that's a good one too. All right. So here we go. Ready? And go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Release it. Okay, good. Not bad. Not bad at all. All right. I should have you all on mute so that I can hear the sounds you're making. See if you can unmute real quick. Okay, good. All right, here we go. Ready? And one more time real quick. And try to like whatever effort you put into that, try to do at least like 10 times more effort than what you just did. All right. So raise it up a little bit. Okay, here we go. Ready? And go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and release it.
Ah.
Okay. All right. Not bad. Allison, you're just like, ah, ah, ah. You're just like,
It's all I got. There's not a lot in there.
don't worry. We'll fill you up with some stuff. You'll be good to go. So, all right, Ben, Roger, Dom, not bad, but you know, the goal here really is just to like let loose, right? Let go. And a lot of times that's like one of the biggest kind of things that stands in your way. It's like you think you're kind of letting go, but like the reality of you letting go is a completely different story, right? Because you think you might be kind of 10xing your effort, but like in actuality, it's just kind of like a normal level. So that's something that's a constant. We constantly up and down, no matter who you are, like at the highest levels. If you listen to Jeff's YouTube video on the website, you'll hear him talk about it when we were working on his project when he had a TV show. But all right, good. So let's go. Let's touch in. Let's see what's going on with the exercises. Ben, let's start with you, upper left-hand corner there. Tell us if you're doing the exercises. Anything kind of radical happen? I know we had a good week last week that you mentioned. Go ahead.
So yeah, I did the.
And just say your name, by the way, Slate.
Oh,
Hi,
yeah,
my name is Ben Jones.
All right, my name is Ben Jones, and
Mhm.
yeah, I did it for 5 days straight. Then the last 2 days, I usually do it before I go to sleep because I kind of like doing it like that way. I don't know why, but yeah, the last 2 times, last 2 nights, that's why I right to sleep. But yeah, but I've like every day I just try to appreciate life at like every second I got it. That's why like I get from the appreciation.
Good. Okay, so you're 5 out of 7. Not bad. Not perfect, but not bad. Just remember, whatever you do, if you do something 5 out of 7, I mean, look, some people that want to be nice, maybe like your grandma moms or whatever, grandpa pops, whoever they are, they might be like, well, way to go. You
Yeah.
got 5 out of 7, but really you got nothing.
Yeah,
You get it? Because if you don't have a full-on effort, 100%, you have nothing.
definitely.
So just as long as you know the truth, because like I said, I prefaced this class, it's like that's how people will act in Los Angeles. Like they're going to be hungry, they're going to be focused, they're going to be hustling, and the level with which they do that would be quite different than, you know, this area, right? And it's
Right.
not that there aren't hustlers here, but they would be hustling more in like pharmaceuticals and lawyers and what do you call those? Financial people. You see what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's just a different hustle. So, all right, not bad at all. Any kind of roadblocks? Or are you good other than, you know, just get it in 7 days, man. It's 15 minutes.
Yeah. Nah, no roadblocks.
Good. Be the champion. Be the
Gotcha.
champion, right? And how you do one thing is how you do all things. All right. Give him a hand.
That's a good quote too.
I know. That's why I used it. All right. Allison, how about you? How you doing?
Good. I did it all 7 days. But I did find myself procrastinating on doing it. Kind of what I alluded to on last night's call. I was just kind of trying to push off meditating so I wouldn't have to like face anything really, but I tried to take Roger's advice. Thank you, Roger. And just kind of sit with it this morning. Instead of pushing it off and like trying to find, say, like a guided meditation where the person's talking the whole time and I can just focus on what they're saying and not on me. And I kind of just realized that I was like procrastinating making goals too, which was like hard to make an affirmation when you aren't like in touch with what your goals actually are.
Yeah, true.
So today was the first day that I kind of started really thinking about that. But I kind of took a step back and went back to the open to everything and attached to nothing affirmation until I like really sit and think about what I actually want and set those goals and can start working towards them, I guess.
Good. So it's basically giving you time, it sounds like, to really kind of set yourself up for what you want to focus on and where you want to go. So you're kind of doubling down on like, oh, okay, what am I doing? I almost thought you were going to say, and I figured out, I was like, oh my God, I started packing my bags from Reading. And but you'll be prepared when you leave. You know what I'm saying? Like you won't have, because a lot of people, sometimes people just leave where they're at because they just can't take it anymore or whatever. But it's like my goal for all you all is just that if you're going to do that, just be completely prepared. Do you know what I'm saying? Like have a plan, have a focus, understand how things are happening. And that way you don't have to get culture shock and all these other things that happen to people, you know? But that's good. That's time well spent analyzing and thinking about your goals and stuff like that. That's really good. All right. And way to go on 7 out of 7. That's good. Just because, you know, even if you do it, but it doesn't, it's kind of sloppy, that's still good, right? If you still get 7 days out of 7, still go for it, you know? Anything standing in your way or anything other than what we talked about last night or whatever?
I think something that came up was maybe realizing that I'm sort of like, I still have like some older beliefs that I'm a little embarrassed by my goals. So that's like, just because they're so like, they're much less practical than what I was expected to do. So I think that's kind of a block that I'm working through, but it's going well besides that.
Good. And I'm glad that you're seeing that though. I'm glad you're seeing like, oh wow, like I have some kind of high hopes that probably like, you know, some people that I know are like, what are you talking about? That's a big lofty thing. And don't, like, I'm telling you, like, that's why you're here. Do you know what I'm saying? Because what you think about and what you believe and what you put energy into is what can expand in the universe, no matter what that is. Right? It doesn't matter what it is or how old you are, or what you look like. It doesn't matter. It's that you're going to be much happier getting halfway to like what fills you with bliss than like sitting there doing something for the rest of your life that you really don't want to do. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's the trade-off is ridiculous. So, and that's good though. You know, all of us, we're going to have some beliefs that we bring in. And we just basically have to deconstruct them. And eventually, you know, if you have more powerful beliefs, they will absorb. Hey, Reese, if you have more powerful beliefs, they will absorb weaker beliefs. So some you will have to dismantle, but then some, by virtue of you continuing to focus on what you want in a bigger space, that energy will absorb these smaller beliefs and they'll kind of, it'll help you. All right. Good work. Good work. Give her a hand, everybody. Awesome. All right, Roger.
Hey, so only meditated 3 times this week. One of the things for me is I've actually spent a lot of time actually in like last several years on meditation, and I had a long like journey with it. And so for me, it's not something that I find helpful doing every day. Some personal reasons with that. But then I did also want to echo, I think, Allison's point, which is that one of my struggles with affirmation at times is that I was also brought up to be very practical, right, in all my endeavors, and so this is decidedly impractical, and so bringing up affirmations of like, oh, like being a successful actor or like just acting in general, it feels a little ridiculous to me right inside. And I think that's part of the thing where for me, I think seeing and doing and hopefully folding that into the affirmation will help me kind of like take it to the next level there.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's things that are not what you're already doing or what you're used to are definitely going to feel strange and kind of almost like foreign and uncomfortable. And, you know, it's certainly not what, like, you know, 9 out of 10 people are doing that are probably around you. Now, again, if you go up to New York or you go to LA, yeah, you're going to have like pretty much you're going to bump into people left and right that are in the entertainment industry, right? But not around this area. You know, where are you at, Roger, by the way?
Oh, I'm in South Jersey.
South Jersey. Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
not in South Jersey. And, you know, so it's like with the meditation, man, I hear what you're saying, but like, whatever you got to do to just kind of center yourself, give yourself something. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be called meditation, but give yourself something. If it's something that adversely affects you, I don't know why it would, but actually, it does do that because it basically in the beginning, when you're trying to work through certain frequencies, sometimes it feels like things are getting worse before they get better. So maybe you just have to go deeper in it. You know, always
Yeah.
give it like another look. You know.
Right. Yeah, no, I think to your point of like the centering piece to me is important, and I do find that sometimes like it's easy to center around motion or action. So it might be something as simple as like a run or something else that helps me center better than like a traditional meditation in that sense. Yeah.
Yeah, you can do walking meditation. I mean, there's Tai Chi. There's also a walk of atonement is very powerful. I've talked about that in the Monday night class. Walk of atonement is just when you literally like pick a destination across the room or, you know, in your backyard or wherever there's some space, and whatever kind of like mumble goes on in your brain about like how you can't do it or something stupid that you really don't want to be talking about, you actually just say that. You go from like, you start at point A and then you see point B and then you just say whatever it is. Oh my God, how am I going to do this? This is not practical. How am I going to move out to LA? How am I going to be a superstar? How am I going to be an actor? How am I going to lead in a TV show or a movie? Yeah. And you just speak all that, right? And you get it out. And then when you get to the other side, you do something called contemplation of spans of time. And when you do contemplation of spans of time, what you do is you just open up your mind. You basically give your mind a nice little stretch, just like you would like stretch your arms or whatever, you know, your back if you're exercising. And then it makes things a little easier to handle. You know, you see how, oh, wow, look how insignificant. And you do it by like, you just go 5 years, 10 years, 20, 30, 80, 100, 500, 1,000, 200,000, 500,000 years, 1 million years. And then you realize, oh my God, this is like a speck. Me and all my problems and all this stuff is a speck. And then as from that space, you have more energy to introduce to allow yourself to overcome. So that is a nice kind of walking meditation. I can elaborate on that further at some point if you want. I'm just going to shout it out to you right now based on what you just said. But yeah, man, I think practicality and everything, I mean, like, you know, it certainly is a little more challenging when it doesn't already exist. Right? Because there's things that if you're like the pioneer, right? They say like, you know, a lot of times like the pioneers have the arrows in their back, right? Because they have to, you know, they're out in front, you know? So, but as an actor, you're not a pioneer. You know, do you guys know who the first actor was? Okay. So there's a word called thespian, right? You've heard of that word, thespian? So there was a guy in Icaria, Greece, named Thespis, and that's the first actor. So he started to put masks on and walk around and do stuff. So you are, you know, you're following in like a line or like a tradition. You know what I mean? So now it's just a matter of like, all right, based on that, how do I set myself apart? How do I hone my craft? How do I, you know, and like what I'm teaching you with these 3 things is like, there's many things. One of them is discipline. Somebody's holding your ass accountable to something every week. Some of you guys are doing it. Some of you aren't. How in the God, if you believe in God or whoever else, Buddha and Giuseppe or whoever you believe in, do you think that you're actually going to be disciplined if you can't do 3 things for 15 minutes a day while somebody's actually taking the time to hold you accountable? Somebody who is a lead actor, who is in the Screen Actors Guild, who, you know what I'm saying, who has directed stuff, who is casting a 6-figure budget SAG film, who, you know, who's done all that. If you can't hold accountable to that, what makes you think like you're going to just, like, you see what I mean? Like, life is about sacrifice a lot of times if you want to get what you want. So sometimes it's less about what you think is right and wrong, and just, you got to trust the process, and you got to allow people to help you. And believe me, I was as stubborn as anybody else, and it took me a long time to learn that. But it's called coachable, and it's called the Coachability Index. And then what's interesting about the Coachability Index is that if you're 99.9% coachable, you ain't coachable. You got to be 100%. You see what I mean? Or you can't rise to the next level. So keep that in mind. A lot of people do that. They ask questions. They're like, well, you know, like, think about me. It's like, I've had this business 11 years, successful business, right? Every single year for 11 years, it's been successful, right? And I've seen a lot of actors, and halfway through that 11 years, I was like, oh my God, we got to start doing this because this is really helping actors. And all of a sudden it did. I ain't talking about stuff just to talk to you guys. I've talked about this stuff thousands of times, and I have it all written down. I'm just getting it out the way I'm getting it out to you. It's memorized as far as I'm concerned, but I actually have it written down. So you got to realize, like, my goal is to get you working as soon as possible. Right? Because that enables me to, like, continue to do what I do. Right? So that's where I think a lot of newer people in this thing, if they would just learn how to be coachable, it would be pretty wild. And I had to learn that myself. And when I did, people wanted to share more with me, you know? So everybody keep that in mind. It's not just for Roger. I mean, just everybody, you know? Because you're going to come upon that. You're going to say, well, wait a minute. Why I this, I that? It's like, you can't see yourself. You can record yourself and look at yourself, but that's not you seeing yourself. Even though you think that's you seeing yourself, it ain't. When you look at yourself in the mirror, you're still not seeing yourself. Like, there's a reflection there, but what happens is when someone else is observing you, they're seeing you. All right? Does everybody understand that? So you have to, at a certain point, you got to, like, let people work with you in this field, right? Whether it's me or anybody else. I mean, that's where you're going to get growth. Frank Sinatra, you guys all know who that is? Frank Sinatra, he didn't just, like, wake up singing. He had somebody that taught him how to sing. Do you guys know that? Yeah, there was a man that taught Frank Sinatra how to sing, how to hold his mouth, everything. It's interesting stuff, you know, when you think about it. But that's the wild universe that we live in, you know? I let people younger than me teach me. I let people older than me teach me. You know, I let everybody teach me because, you know what? I love it. I love learning, right? I don't want to stand in the way of the flow of the universe. So anyway, man, I hope some of that insight helps you. You can do and be whatever the hell you want to be, period. That's it. We just have to build up the energy of belief. That's all. Simple as that. Give him a hand. Dom. How you doing, Dom?
Hey, Dominic Anapi. Had a great week. Did my meditation as I always do every night. Really worked on my affirmation. Mostly I do those now when I walk, because I do about 2 or 3 miles a day, and I'm constantly repeating in my head that I am a great actor, that I want to be successful, and making it seem like it's second nature. And it's actually helping a little bit. It's like when I'm walking, I feel like my shoulders are back a little more.
Awesome.
So it's helping with the confidence. And yeah, I think that's been a huge thing for me. I hear what everybody's saying about the practicality. Just imagine if you're 46 and doing it. You know, I keep it kind of almost buried, because I don't want people who can't dream or can't see my path to judge me or define me anymore. So I really keep my plans with this class and my career right here in my heart. And that's helped a lot. I don't really you know, it's like asking for a loaf of bread at a bank. You can ask for it, but they're going to give it to you. So I don't even discuss it with people who I know are either old school or closed-minded individuals, and it's helped a lot. Yeah. So
It's not a bad idea at all.
yes,
You
sir.
know, hold on to your energy. Hell yeah, man.
Yeah,
Hold
keep
on to
that
your
positive
energy.
energy, and that's been huge for me. I've been really focusing on that energy, and I mean, it's weird. I'm on Facebook and I get an email about some beer commercial, a national beer commercial. Yeah, I mean,
Good. Did you submit through it or what?
well,
What happened?
I talked to her and I said, I'm interested. And she's like, well, have you ever done custodial work? And I'm like, shit, yeah. You
Yeah.
know, clean my
Yeah,
house.
yeah, yeah. You did it.
But so yeah, so who knows? I don't know, but it's just weird how me being more positive, even with life, it's just, it seems like more doors are going to be there. And I'm excited for the future. Yeah.
Excellent. And that's exactly right, man. It's so awesome because like this is what starts happening. Look, we're 3 weeks in, right? This is happening. This company I'm training, this guy just nailed $100,000 sale, you know, and they're like, Bernard, like I did this and that, but you know, I'm not taking credit. I'm just saying like I was taught this stuff and I just keep focusing on it because it works, period. End of sentence, right?
It seems
you can't-
weird. I mean, it does. I mean, if you really think about energy, it's like really hippie-ish, but man, it fucking works.
It does.
It really
It
does.
does.
I mean, yeah.
It does. I might have long hair, but I'm more of like a scientific jock, to be
You
honest.
had to
with
throw
you.
the hair comment in, you know.
I know. Why the hell do we
One a
always
day, I
gotta go
get
to
one
the
a
hair?
day. So
Maybe just I'll get a bald cap and you can get a wig, and then
that
we'll
would
just,
look
you
great.
know,
You should go
we'll
out.
hit
Like
it. We'll go like that. but, but like it's crazy, man. Like it. Okay, when you said about affirmations, I thought, and for you too, Roger, the way to supercharge the affirmation, because to just say it and feel it and then be like, oh, I don't know if I feel this or whatever. It's good to just, you know, keep focusing on that, right? But the way to supercharge it is really to work with that exercise, you know, how would I feel if, remember we did that? And get the feeling of how would I feel if, and then imagine the affirmation as like almost like a pill or something, right? But like you're the one creating it. It's not some weird ass scientist at some pharmaceutical company. It's you. And what's inside the pill now, the pill is the affirmation. It's a delivery system, right? It's like, okay, I am this, right? But what's inside the pill is the feeling that you created from how would I feel if. Does everybody understand that analogy? That's the way to supercharge the affirmation, because it is light years above and beyond what most people are going to do every day. If you just sit there and repeat, I am an amazing actor, I am confident, I am feeling awesome, I am in perfect health, I am whatever, right? That's light years above most people to be able to sit there and do that consistently each day. But if you if you do that, and then you're like, on the other hand, you're like, okay, I want to work on my how would I feel if, and you're like, how would I feel if I was in perfect health? And then you feel that and you're like, whoa, I feel unlimited energy. I feel so happy because I know that no matter what, I'm always going to be healthy. Even in this Corona situation or whatever, it's never going to affect me. And then you inject it into the pill of I'm in perfect health. I'm in perfect health. I'm in perfect health. And every time you say that, you feel that. Oh my God, everybody, watch what happens. You know what I'm saying? And that's your little pharmaceutical company that you're the president, CEO, and head chemist at. You don't have to go to Merck or anybody else because you don't know what the hell they're doing there, right? You're the one that can feed yourself that. And that is super powerful stuff. So when you're talking about affirmation, yeah, I mean, if you just nail one of these three things, it's going to be life-changing. If you start understanding how to really work them in so that you're really like transmitting that energy, now you're, you know, stuff is going to happen. You'll see it. So I wish that for everybody, you know? All right, Dom, excellent, man. Thank you. I don't know what happened to Ghetto Reese. He was here, but then he disappeared. Maybe he had a rap, do a quick rap. All right. So here's what we got going on. We've got to do the monologue. So each of us are going to have a chance to do the monologue. Now, don't worry about the monologue like performance wise. I'm trying to teach you something that you can always go back to no matter what material that you're doing, so that you have an idea of like where to start. So you don't get one thing and be like, oh my God, how do I do this? Or how do I do that? How do I do that? Right. I'm just trying to give you, let's start at, ground zero, because, although the tendency some people are very impatient, probably 9 out of 10, right? They're like, oh, I just want to act. I just want to, oh my God, I looked at it all week. I can't wait. I'm raring to go. But see, another part of this is like to see if you can actually kind of, govern yourself a little bit, right? Control yourself a little bit, only so that you can see some things inside this monologue, inside this work, that you're going to read. And then that way you can become more efficient. Because the reason why most of us are inefficient a lot of the times is because we do stupid shit that we're impulsive. You know what I mean? We get so impulsive when we do something stupid, and we're like, oh my God, that was the wrong decision. Now you gotta clean up the mess, right? And then you got to do something else. So then before you know it, you got 2 or 3 messes behind you, and that creates weight and drag. Does everybody understand that? So I'm just trying to teach you a streamline. Some of you do it easily, some may not. It doesn't matter. I'm going to share it with you because I want you to understand that you actually can streamline the process. So what I'll ask you to do right now is like, do you have the monologue? Can you put the monologue up, piece of paper, and be like, here it is. Excellent. Ben?
I didn't have a printer.
Hold on. There's going to be a trap door beneath you, and I'm going to press the button, and you're going to follow through it right now. Ready? And now. All right. So yeah, if you don't have a printer, did you have a pen?
Yeah, but I did write
We're
on
crying
paper.
out loud, Ben. Be resourceful, baby.
No, I wrote on paper. That's what I'm saying.
That's good. Hold it up. Hold it up. Let me see it.
I got you. Got you.
Jesus, who cares if you didn't have the printer? We'll throw the printer out the window. My mom's bugging me to get a printer. She's like, I need a printer. I'm like, what are you gonna get a job at FedEx? Like, what do you got to be printing, Mom? She's like, how often are you printing things these days? You're like in your freaking 70s. Like,
Yeah, right.
the hell?
I gotta look for the paper.
But for all you guys, I think it is important to have a printer. Get a $99 printer. Get your computer. You know what I'm saying? Ben's taking us on a tour of his house right now. All right. So, who wants to volunteer to go first? This is going to be fun. Who wants to volunteer? Okay, Roger, and then Ben. Is that you, Allison, holding your hand up? Yeah, okay. Allison, and then Dom, you can go last. All right, so we have an order, all right? So we have an order. We'll go for a good, we'll let Roger, Ben go, and then we'll take a quick little break. And hopefully Ghetto Reese comes back on, and then we'll, I don't know what happened to Frank either. And then we'll go with Allison and Dominic, all right? As of right now. That could change, obviously, if those two get in. So what we do in this case is we're going to all kind of turn our video off and mute ourselves. I'm going to still kind of be on the voice because I'm going to be walking you through it. And then I'm going to highlight Roger because he's the one that's going. So I'm going to highlight you. Okay, Roger? Awesome. All right, Ben, so turn your camera off there, Ben. Okay, awesome. So, Roger, this is what you got to do, man. Look at your camera, right? So that, okay, good. Now your face is oriented that way. Now, who are you speaking to in your monologue?
The other character, Will.
Okay, Will. So who is he to you?
He's my best friend.
Best friend. Okay. So everybody, remember what we finished up last week with, which was a super powerful, kind of little mini workshop in itself. Understanding how to do associated visualization. You all remember that? I hope. You can use the hand feature, guys, if you want. Because if you press like your hand or your reaction, then I can kind of see you up top and see that everybody heard me. And that's, that's what I'm going for. I just want to make sure everybody hears what I'm saying and you're following along. Awesome. Thanks, Roger. See what Roger's doing with the little thumb? Perfect. If you can do that, that's great. That's helpful. All right. So now it's like I want you to look at that because that's going to give you a frame of reference of what you're looking at. Because a lot of the times that's what trips a lot of actors up. They're like, what am I looking at? Do I look at a camera? Do I look here? Do I look there? You are looking at the person you're talking to. Now, you don't want to make them hang out on the desk behind you, right? They've got to be oriented in one of three places. They can be to the left of your monitor, above your monitor, or to the right. I would say most of the time it's better to put them on the left or right. However, you also are going to have to work with your script. So put your script in your hand and bring it up to about eye level. There you go. So it looks like you're going to be holding your script on your left-hand side. So let's just have the person you're talking to be a little bit to your right. Okay.
Oh, okay. So on this.
There you go.
So
Perfect.
like this side.
Yeah, exactly. You see, because now it opens everything up. Now it's an easier flow. You're not blocking. I hope everybody's noticing this, right? And I love how you have your script out of the camera frame. So you can bring it in as close as you can so that, like that's fine. As long as it's not blocking you, man. We want to see you. We want to absolutely see you. As long as it's not blocking you, you can bring it in a little closer so you can see it. Now, when you speak the lines, this has nothing to do with memorizing. So everybody pay attention to that again. This has nothing to do with memorizing. When you speak the lines, make sure you deliver them to who?
The person you're talking to.
Exactly. Because guess what, everybody? You are starting a relationship. And just like if you went on your first date with somebody, and next thing you know, you're talking to them, and you're like, yeah, so tell me everything about you, And next thing you know, you see this, right? Or this, or this, right? That's not a good way to start a relationship now, is it, right? And it has nothing to do with memorization. What it has to do with right now is just patience and focus. All right. So the way you're going to do that is you're going to do an exercise, what we call you scoop the words off the page. So scoop as many words off that page as you can that you can get in your mind, and then deliver them to who you're talking to, which in this case is who? Your best friend?
Yeah.
Does that make sense, Raj?
Yeah. Sorry. I'm
Okay,
taking some
cool.
notes here.
Yeah. So, and you don't have to make it, you don't have to act it right now. All I'm trying to do is get you all to start a relationship and put all these pieces together so that by like next week and the week after that, you're flowing and it happened quickly. All right. Rather than be like, all right, ready and go. And then you just go and you have to like do all these things. And you're like, how was that? And then I'm like, that was good. That was bad. That was good. It's like one step at a time. So don't worry about memorizing anything. Don't worry about acting anything. This is called a gentle read, everybody. A gentle read. You don't even have to put emotion in it. The goal here is to see how focused and what your capability of like scooping words off the page is. Some people can do a whole sentence. Some people might even already have it memorized. Some people might only be able to do 3 words at a time. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you deliver the words to who?
The person you're talking
The
to.
person you're talking to, because that starts the relationship. Does everybody get that? Everything in life and in acting and everywhere else, it's all about relationships. That's the way we get stuff done. It's the way we get business done, families done. You want to do something huge in life, you got to have good relationships. Simple as that. So that's what we're going to work on. Like numero uno, number 1, right? We're going to learn how to do the right, get this relationship going the right way. All right. And then after that, tonight, I'll fill in the blanks with a whole bunch of stuff that, you will obviously become more aware of. So, all right. You ready, Roger? You kind of understand what we're doing here?
Yeah. So basically try to scoop the words and then deliver it to the person I'm talking to.
There you go. Take your time. If it feels like you're losing your place, take your time and stop and just look at the words and get them in your head and then deliver.
Okay.
And then when you're done, take your time and go back. Don't worry about pacing right now. Don't worry about emotion and all that stuff. You know what I mean? It's like you can't do everything at once. It's like, all right, we need you to build a house. And like, okay, we're having the construction crew come out. We're going to do everything in one day. We're building the foundation. We're building the walls. We're putting the plumbing in. We're putting the electric. Nobody does that. You got to do one thing at a time in a certain order, right? So I'm giving
Right.
you an order that'll be like a lot less stressful. It's not the most exciting thing, everybody, but don't get seduced by the excitement of fucking up. You know what I mean? Like, be more excited about doing something right. That's a step by step. And then another week or two, it's off to the races. You guys can come, you'll just come in and do your monologue, right? Does that make sense? Good. All right. Now, first thing we do, though, is we do a slate. Slate is when I say my first and last name. Hi, my name is Bernard Glinkoski, and I will be doing the character of Jacob from the movie Quicksilver. Got it? That's all we need to know. We don't need to know, oh, well, basically in this scene, blah, 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 blah. No, just act it out. We don't need to see that. All right. But like I said, you don't even need to act it out right now. Right now, we're just creating a relationship. Go for it, man.
All right. Hi, my name is Roger Chu. I'll be doing the character Chucky from Good Will Hunting. Fuck you. Tomorrow, fuck you. You owe it to me. Tomorrow, I'm going to wake up and I'll be 50, and I'll still be doing this. And that's all right, because I'm going to make a run at it. But you're sitting on a winning lottery ticket, and you're too much of a pussy to cash it in. And that's bullshit, because I'd do anything to have what you got. And so would any of these guys. It'd be a fucking insult if you're still here in 20 years. Let me tell you what I do know. Every day I come by to pick you up, and we go out drinking or whatever, and we have a few laughs. But you know what the best part of my day is? The 10 seconds before I knock on your door. Because I let myself think I might get there and you'd be gone. I'd knock on a door and you wouldn't be there. You just left. Now, I don't know much, but I know that.
Okay, everybody unmute themselves and give Roger a hand. Good. All right, good job, man. Good job. Good job. All right, so how do you feel right now? Good job.
It was kind of like, honestly, kind of hectic, even though it was so simple, right? Of instructions, but kind of like you said, that there's so much going on. First time doing this, even just reading words off a page and like delivering it to a different spot was tough just to begin with.
Yeah, and what's going to happen is, like, when it comes down to real time, you're going to have somebody reading in that office, right? It might be like someone they hired. It might just be another actor. It might be one of the producers, might be one of the lead actors in the project that wants to kind of feel out the possible talent that's going to be hired. So you're going to, want to become very comfortable with this process. And right now, you're just going to create that visual and look at that person when you talk to them and deliver the lines. And it's not it's not trying to put everything together. Life is made up in moments. You can just have little moments. You could just be like, get the words and then look at them and be like, look at you. You're a disgrace. I told you not to do that. Right? Like, you can just have little moments, right? And then what happens is, as we get better, we'll just put all the moments together, and it'll seem like a nice cohesive flow.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Okay. So yeah, I think you did a great job, man. I think you did a great job. You paced yourself. You felt it. You were like, oh, whoa, okay, wait a minute. Like, I'm reading this. I'm looking at this person. Like, the camera is looking at me, right? There's a lot, like you said, there's a lot going on, right? So that's why it's really not really that productive to just, okay, ready, action, do it. It's really not that productive, right? So one thing at a time. The most important thing is the relationship that's created. All right, what questions do you have? Everybody's going to get a chance to ask, a question or two based on what they just did, because it's fresh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if it's a question necessarily, but just another observation was that I felt myself rushing, I guess, and sort of like instead of spending time kind of like you said, building the relationship with the person, I was more worried about getting the words and like delivering them. And so I don't know, I guess I don't know if you have any more insight on that. I'm sure part of it is just learning and doing and experiencing.
Beautiful awareness. I got a lot of insight on just that, what you just said. That's a huge part. If you've ever heard anybody say, oh, that was so organic, or that just made sense. If you are being impatient, then you're definitely not coming off as like real and authentic. It seems like you're somewhere else, which is what you're describing. Because if you're not in the present moment awareness, that means your mind is focused on something else. So noticing and acknowledging the fact that you're being impatient, I agree with you. I wanted to see if you could see that, and you did, which is awesome. Some people will, they won't admit it, or they don't believe it, or they just, I'm not an impatient person. You know what I mean? Their ego, they're battling with their ego, whatever the hell it is. Most people, 9 out of 10 people that start this are impatient, because most people on the planet are impatient. The attention span of a human being is now that of a goldfish, which is around 8 or 9 seconds. It used to be 12 minutes. iPhone has certainly changed, our level of patience when it comes to like, okay, I just ordered my new Oshkosh Bagosh overalls. Why are they not being delivered by Amazon Prime yet? Where are they? What the hell's going on? It's like, do you know what I'm saying? Like you used to have to like go over, walk over some hills like for a couple days to get something like that. Right. But these days we're so used to having things at the touch of the button, and that it flows into everything else in our life. So that natural tendency to be impatient is not going to serve an actor, because an actor has to be right there in the present moment awareness, really literally just unfolding energy right in front of everybody. Okay. That's the most powerful thing that you can do. Unfolding energy, not energy that's held up, not energy that's a little too far ahead, energy that's unfolding in the present moment. That's the best thing that you can do. All right. So you're not trying to push anything on somebody, or you're not, holding up like a snail and people are like, what the hell? When's it coming? Right. You're just unfolding energy right there for them. That feels good. So hell of an awareness, Roger, really good, man, because yeah, I agree with you. And meditation is going to help with that. Maybe you're saying impatience. It's like, hey, maybe you were impatient with meditation. Maybe you gave it a year or two, and then you were like, oh, okay, wait a minute, I don't like it. Move on. You're like, next. You know what I mean? You're like meditating, and you're like, all right, come on, what's next? What's better? So think about that. This is like, what you were doing, Allison, and having that like revelation with yourself. Just touch base with yourself. Be honest with yourself. What's going on there? You know what I'm saying? Like really, because the definition of meditation is to become familiar with. So that's what it does. You become more familiar with yourself. So, think about that. There's nothing bad about that. It's all good, period. But yeah, that's a great thing to see. Anything else?
No, not at the moment.
All right. Good work, man. Really good work. Give him a hand, guys. Excellent work. All right. Mr. Ben Jones, do you have your paper that you wrote out that was in like the third loft down the hallway to the right or something in the filing cabinet, or wherever the hell you went? You disappeared to?
Yes, sir. You got jokes.
All right, here we go.
You can hear me?
Yep.
My name is Ben Jones, and I'm doing a character called Terry Malloy from On the Waterfront, and I'm talking to my brother Charlie. You ready?
Yes.
It wasn't him, Charlie. It was you. Remember that night in the garden you came down my dressing room as a kid? This ain't your night? You remember that? My night. I could have taken Wilson apart that night. So what happens? He gets a title shot outdoors in the ballpark. What I get? A one-way ticket to Palookaville. You was my brother, Charlie. You should have looked out for me a little bit. You should have taken care of me just a little bit, trying to take them dives for the short end money. You don't understand. I could have had class. I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody instead of a bum, which is what I am. Let's face it. It was you, Charlie. That's it.
All right, everybody on mute, and everybody can put themselves back on camera too, by the way. All right, give him a hand. Good job. Good job. One-way ticket to Palookaville. All
One-way
right,
ticket to Palooka.
there you go. All right, so Ben, how do you feel with what just happened?
I've kind of not rushed it because it's kind of a slow. I kind of rushed it because it is kind of like a slow scene, but I memorized it, so I didn't really need like to look at the paper. But I kind of feel good.
Okay, good. Where were you looking, by the way? It looked like you were looking straight ahead.
Yeah, I was looking straight ahead.
So were you looking at who you were speaking to?
Yeah.
Who
straight
was
ahead,
it?
Yeah. Charlie, the brother.
The brother, right?
Yeah.
So what did Charlie look like?
Got a hat on, got a gray suit on. He got a sad face because this minutes before he pulled a gun out on me.
Sad face?
So-
Like how? What's his sad face look like?
Like worried, sad because he has to kill his brother. That's kind of like the face. he got,
Okay,
but, like,
worried, sad. Yeah, so his eyes. Okay, all right. So
Yeah.
everybody, keep in mind, like you're hearing me ask these questions. Who are you talking to? What did he look like? Right? Remember that, because at the end of us going, that's going to be very important. These words that we're using, because they're tools, right? So, all right, Ben. So not bad at all. So, all right. Each one of you, like there's so much stuff. So what I do is like for each person, I kind of address something, and then that way you can see it in action, right? And then when we get to you, it might be something different. Like we just saw with Roger, we talked about being in the present moment, right? And how important that is to basically look real, right? To look authentic. So with Ben, I'm going to say to Ben, this is almost like one of the most important things that you're going to realize that makes it easy to understand is that there's a story
Mhm.
that you're a part of, and then there is a character that you are playing as the actor, right? So what is this story about?
So Charlie, he works on the waterfront. Like he's a dock guy that works on the docks. No, that's Terry. My fault. Terry is, and his brother Charlie, and his crew. He's a part of the mob. Like I guess that like, they run on the waterfront, like docks. And he don't really talk to his brother like that through the movie. So they finally got to talk in that scene. But like before that, he's gonna rat on because he like in the beginning of the movie, he kills
Okay, now
somebody.
stop talking. So, okay, now notice how you feel right now. And is
Mhm.
everybody watching how he's talking and everything? Now, do you see how like it's kind of fragmented the way Ben's describing everything? He's like this, that, and he's basically talking in pictures.
Mhm.
Does everybody understand that? All right. So I don't want you to do that because that's really
Okay.
not that powerful for you. All you're doing right there is basically just using recall. You're like,
Mhm.
oh, I saw this, I saw that. What I want you to do, all of you, this is like so very important. And Roger, you're going to have to do this now because you just went. But I just use whatever comes up to illustrate whenever it comes up. But anyway, I want you to really dig into the story. I want you to find out what the story is about. Okay. And you really got to, and this is going to serve you so powerfully because now you're going to be in a totally different position as an actor, as an artist, because like, you're going to read stories, and that's what this whole thing's about. You're a storyteller. You've seen interviews with actors and they're like, oh, I read the story and I wanted to do it. Or I've been working on getting this produced for 10 years. It's like, that's where it's all at. That's where the juice is at. So I want you to get in there and you got to analyze the story. You have to understand, like, what is the story that you're telling? It's not about a guy that all of a sudden you
No.
see him in a scene and does this. There's something deeper there.
I got you.
And if you can connect to that deeper substance, right, within the story, that's going to provide you, the artist, with so much more creative energy, so much more inspiration, and really so much more authenticity. Because why? Because you're actually doing the work. You're understanding what this story is all about. You're not just repeating something that you see, right? Like, oh, I see
Yeah.
this picture, not, whatever. You're actually going into that story. And then there's like, different types of stories. Like, what kind of story is this? Is this like a romantic story? Is this a dramatic story? Is it, do you know what I'm saying, Ben?
Yeah.
So now that being said, this is almost like, when your computer fan goes on because
Mhm.
it's been working so hard, you got like 25 windows open and your computer starts like the fan goes on, right? This is what I want your brain to do right now. Focus on the story
I got you.
first, actually, even before your character.
I got you.
Because if you understand the story, it's going to enlighten you to what your character should do next and give you the depth in your character. So what is this story about, Ben? In maybe a sentence or two.
I got you. So, to me, what I found out the story was like, I think it is a guy that's guilty and that he never lived up to what he was supposed to be, and the guy that's guilty what he did and to help people that don't help him out, that try to help him out, but at the end they're all bad. They're all bad people at the end of the day that he's helping, that he did help out. But
So
I feel like he just has guilt and he just wants to be. He didn't live up to what he was, and that's like a contender, a big prize fighter.
Good. Okay, good. So you got that out. Now refine it a little bit more and just bring it into like one powerful, cohesive statement. Like, what's the story about?
Uh,
On a
a
human
guy,
level, man. Human level. Like, think human emotions, like
Mhm.
on a human level, right?
a guy that's fighting his guilt this whole movie, and he finally gets the recognition at the end. I feel like because the whole movie, the whole time, everybody calls him bum and stuff, but that's why like the scene I did when he's like, I could have been a contender. That's why he says it so emotionally.
Okay, you're
'cause-
doing it again. You're doing it
Oh,
again.
awful.
You're getting, that's all right. We're learning.
Yeah.
But it's easy to fall. It's just it's like when we don't know what to say, if we're not putting enough mental concentration into something, we just use filler.
Mm.
And filler language is just like, oh, this happened and that happened and blah, 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 blah. He went to see her, and then they went over there, got a water ice, and then they got a corn dog, and then they got a cotton candy, and then they got, you know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah.
just filling in the blanks, man. But I'm not asking you to do that. I'm saying like, and all you got to do is like sit there and think and be like,
Mhm.
what the hell is this about? And you're getting there. You're like, it's about,
Yeah.
somebody had a dream, but they like gave up on their dream, and then they ended up not living it out there, and then they ended up in a different path. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think now I get what you're saying. I definitely get what you're saying. Now, yeah, that had me thinking too. You said it one sentence, right? Like explain it. I think
Yeah, you should
it's
be
a
able
guy
to
just
explain it.
yeah. I think it's just a guy running for like trying to chase his whatever he never had, or he could have been. He just chasing that the whole time.
Okay. See, now that's good. Good job. And what happens now is like when you can compress it, you've certainly put attention onto it. Because
Mhm.
there's no way that you're going to be able to tell us what the hell it means and
Yeah.
us be like, oh, yeah, that makes sense if you didn't do the thinking. Do you understand? But what
Yeah.
a lot of actors, lazy actors and artists do is they just try to, they basically like, oh, I'm so talented and clever. Oh, you know what I'm saying? And that
Yeah.
lasts for maybe like 1 or 2 gigs or whatever, but there's no sustainability in that.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
it's also not good when you navigate your career, because then you're doing stuff just because it's a good role or something, and you're like, or the money, and the reasons aren't going to really serve you. It might in the immediate future serve you, but for sustainability, it doesn't. All right. You get that?
Mhm.
Cool. So yeah, I think you did a good job, man. I think you did a good job. So you get that there's a story. Now there's a character, and you're playing the character. Who you playing?
Oh, Terry Malloy, the main character.
Terry Malloy. Now tell me 2 things about Terry Malloy.
Rainbow. He's a tough guy, like a tough, rugged
Tough guy.
Tough guy. but he has compassion.
And he has compassion. Okay, so he's a tough guy with compassion. Now, are you a tough guy, Ben Jones?
I guess like yeah. I feel like every man thinks they're tough.
Okay. How many fights you been in?
I guess a lot.
Okay, so you've been in some fights, all right?
Yeah, yeah,
So that usually, shows you if you're tough or not, right? You get in a fight, and if you can win a fight,
yeah.
and you win some more or whatever, right? So, all right. Are you a compassionate guy, Ben?
Definitely.
Definitely. Okay, cool. So now everybody, he's got two traits. Ben, the actor, has two traits in common with the person, the character he's playing. Does everybody see that? That's called a have. He has it. He has that. If you don't have it, what do you think it's called?
You said if I don't have it,
Right. Like if you're not compassionate, if you're just a bastard to people. Like a little kitty cat comes up and you're like, get out of here, cat. You get no food.
Asshole.
Yeah, but like what, like, yeah. So
Yeah.
what is that? Like what, like,
Just like a stubborn dude. Stubborn
yeah.
person.
Okay. All right. Good. So if you don't have it, it's called go get. You got to go get it. If you have it, you have it. Good for you, right? That's why sometimes in the beginning in your acting career, if you have a lot of the traits, like if we were going to say, hey, all right, we're going to have a rap. There's a rap artist, and he grows up in West Philly, and he does this, he does that, and like we're auditioning artists. Like, oh, get a Reese. Like, you're a rap artist, okay? Can you all right? Tell us about yourself. You see what I mean? You already have that.
Mm-hmm.
So he's already bringing an asset in, right? Whereas you could take somebody that isn't, but maybe like has the same look or whatever it is, maybe they already cast like the mother, the father, the brother, and the sister, and they kind of need somebody that fits that family, what that family looks like, right? So they got to find somebody, and it's like, well, maybe they got to audition somebody that's not a rapper. You see what I mean? Like you never know what's going to happen, but you can have sometimes traits, and sometimes you have to go get them. All right. And we'll work further on that down the line, but good work. Good work.
Definitely.
All right. So the main thing to kind of illustrate to everybody, guys, is that there's two things. There's a story and there's a character. In order of importance, figure out about your story first and get to the heart of it. Go right into it. If it's about a guy dealing with guilt or whatever, do that. If it's about two people in love, talk about that. It's not about what you see that's why it's actually really good to do plays when you do this work, because it's a lot easier to analyze because you don't have a preconceived notion of like a TV show or a movie.
I had to watch the movie too before.
Yeah, which is not a bad thing, but I have to teach you like the proper way to look at these things and use your mind, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Does anybody have any questions right now? Now it's question time.
I know you mentioned to print out the script.
Yep.
Is there, I've started writing on it. Is that kind of what you're thinking? Having us write notes on it?
Absolutely. Yes. That's why you want to have it in paper form. Also, it's considerate. It's rude. If like, imagine you walk in and you forget some lines and you're like, oh, hold on one second. Let me go to my bag, or hold on. That's rude. That's taking people's time. So having it printed out and being ready, even if you don't need it, right? But then also, yes, Roger, like you just said, taking the pen out, writing the notes as you go. I mean, there could be nothing more powerful than that. No matter what industry you're in, it's constant refinement, constant tweaks, constant testing, constant notes. That's what you need to know. That's what you need to do. So yes.
Are there particular like formats or just tricks or guidance in terms of like how you should structure the notes or that would be more helpful?
Whatever you can understand in whatever way you write. If you want to write in like little symbols, like sometimes if I'm going to say something that I know that it's going to be accentuated, I want to make sure like I, have the word and I want to say it louder or something. I don't know if you guys can see that, right? Do you see it? Go. So it's like I put an arrow because I know, right? If I'm like, go, right? And I want to go low, I'll just put an arrow down on it. That way I don't have to write, when I say go, make my voice go down low, right? I'm like arrow down. Okay, that means I go down. Sometimes like I'll circle a word or put a star to, you know what I mean? It's like you'll find your little, the only way to do it is to do it. You'll find your own little shorthand that works for you. I can tell you something easy that, you know, maybe some of you know, maybe some of you don't know. What does that mean? It's not a witch's
Change.
hat. What?
Change, maybe?
Change, exactly. A little pyramid is a change. That's what it means. So there's lots of things like that. So maybe you want to look into that, like, you know, symbols that have meanings for words, and that's your little shorthand. That way you can be more efficient. You know, that's the name of the game. Optimizing, being more efficient. That's all. That's really what we're doing the whole time. Like, this is intro. This is introducing you to everything and I'm working with your attention, your focus, your mentality, your personality, any kind of negative frequencies. I'm working all that, which is really, you know, it's a lot, and it doesn't happen a lot of times, right? In an intro class, I'm helping you with all that, but then we have to optimize, we have to refine. And that's what like master class is about. That's what like Monday night mentorship, we go a little deeper in the stuff. You have Q&A. You see what I'm saying? It's an ongoing process, because we're literally growing you. We're growing you into an actor. And then ideally, you know, like you're going to book the commercial, like Dominic's going to book this commercial, right? And it's like, wow, now he has a real life experience to bring into his experience of training. Everybody get that?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, okay. Any other questions right now before we take a quick little break? Anybody got a question? Go ahead, Ben.
So I want to ask you, how do you get into character, like when you act?
I mean, by any means necessary. And I also prepare as soon as I know. I prepare and I start preparing and I don't stop. So from the time that I've engaged, I'm accepted something and I'm like, okay, I'm doing this, then every single day, then I allow it to consume me so that I can get as much in as I possibly can. And that way, when it comes time to shooting, then I'm in it as much as I can possibly be in it. But if all of a sudden you get it and the turnaround time is a week, well, guess what? I hope that you've been really working hard in class or whatever else you've been doing so that you learn how to get ready fast, right? So there's never going to be a perfect science to it, but ideally it is something that, you know, you're going to find time. You're not going to make excuses. You're not going to be like, oh, I don't have any time. I work 40 hours a week. Oh my God, 50 hours a week. It's like, I don't give a shit. Sleep 3 hours, or like Arnold Schwarzenegger says, sleep faster. You see what I mean? There's no excuses, especially like when you're young. Like Dom and I, we're like the old dogs here, right? Everybody else is like younger, right? So you guys, like, come on. Like, you know, when I was in my 20s, I was like 7 days a week, all like working 3 jobs all the time. At one point I had to lead in a play, a commercial, the lead in a TV show, the lead in a film. I had 4 teachers working for me at the studio. And I don't know, I was doing something else all one time. I'll never forget it. I was like, holy shit. I remember talking to some of my friends. I was like, I am doing like every fucking thing in the entertainment business right now, all at once. This is insane. And somehow I'm doing it. But when you're in demand, you're in demand. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
When you're in demand, you're in demand. That's not a bad thing. But you got to figure out how to work that in, and make it work for yourself. So you just prepare, Ben, when you throw everything into it as much as possible. That's it. Up into drive. I remember driving to plays and like having an idea on the way to the theater. And I was like, oh my God, I got to stop off at the costume shop and get this little tattoo. Because if I put this tattoo here, it's going to make it more realistic for me to play this role.
Definitely.
You know, going to an audition, going to Target or Walmart or wherever those places are, grabbing some underwear or what do you call those things people wear to bed? What's that called? Pajamas, right? I don't wear pajamas, but I'm saying some people wear pajamas. So I go get pajamas. I'm like, I show up at the audition in pajamas. Nobody else did it. Well, in that scene, the character was in pajamas. And the director, who was out in LA, was like, you're very prepared. You're over prepared. And the people are like, and there are people are like that were podcasting it out to him or whatever the hell they were doing. They're like, do you notice that Bernard has pajamas on? And he's like, of course I can notice that. I can see him through the goddamn monitor, you know? That's kind of a joke, but that's what they actually did say. But I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like people, some people are just, they're not willing to go the extra mile. They're not willing to like keep going, no matter what. The last moment, throw something else in there because why? Because you worked that hard up into that moment. Of course, you're going to get more ideas. The more you put into something, the more you get out of it.
Yeah.
The more it'll show you, the more that'll say, yeah, okay, cool. We got somebody here. They want this. So let's give them something else. Thespis, the spirit of Thespis sees you and he's like, I'm going to give you a little hint. All right. So, okay. Anybody else have a quick question before we take a super quick, like just take a 2 or 3 minute break real quick. And that's really just for you to relax, go to the bathroom real quick, get a drink and get in because we got to go get a Reese. We got to get, well, first Allison's going, then Dominic, and then get a Reese. All right. 1, 2, 3, bim, bam, boom. All right. I'll see you in 3 minutes. 7:44. All right. We're back here. All right. Okay. So get a Reese. Make sure you got your monologue, man. Get it printed out. Because we're gonna need it when we get to you. All right, man. All right, Allison, you ready?
Yeah, so I didn't realize what the exercise was going to be, so I memorized it. Do you recommend still taking just like a chunk off the page at a time?
So you can do the same thing that we're gonna do in this exercise with it being memorized. That's fine. So just create the relationship, with the person that you're speaking to.
Mhm.
And since you do have it memorized, good job, because that just means you're proactive. Or you just can't wait to get the hell out of Reading. But no, that's good. Sometimes people do memorize it. So if you do have it, now just make sure that you do have it memorized. So make sure it's there. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Okay, good. All right. So just look at the person, make sure you slate. It's this person from this project, and then just start to communicate with the person. Go right ahead.
Okay. Hi, I'm Allison Yo. And I am doing Pam from the series The Office. Okay. Hey, I want to say something. I've been trying to be more honest lately, and I just need to say a few things. I did the coal walk. I did it. Michael, you couldn't even do that. Maybe I should be your boss. Wow. I feel really good right now. Why didn't any of you come to my art show? I invited all of you. That really sucks. It's like sometimes some of you act like I don't even exist. Jim, I called off my wedding for you, and now we're not even friends. And things are just like weird between us, and that sucks. And I miss you. You were my best friend before you went to Stanford, and I really miss you. I shouldn't have been with Roy, and there were so many reasons to call off my wedding, but the truth is that I didn't care about any of those reasons until I met you. And now you're with someone else, and that's fine. It's whatever. That's not what I'm not. Okay, my feet really hurt. The thing that I'm trying to say to you here, Jim, and to everyone else in the circle, I guess, is that I miss having fun with you. Just you, not everyone in the circle. Okay, I'm gonna go walk in the water now. Yeah, it was a good day. That's it.
Okay, good. So everybody unmute themselves and give Allison a hand. Good job. All right, really nice job with getting it memorized. That's awesome. So how long did that take you to get it memorized?
Maybe like 3 or 4 reads, something like that.
Is that something that's easy for you?
Yeah, I like memorizing stuff, so it's not too bad.
You like memorizing stuff? That's awesome. That's good. That's really good.
It just makes it easier.
That's right. You're like, yes, I get to memorize like a whole bunch of stuff. Woohoo! Like that's awesome because that's going to serve you. So, all right, awesome, Allison. Really nice job. So now, again, now that we know story character, let's ask you the question. So, what's the story about?
So this is about Pam not doing what everyone expects her to do anymore and
Mhm.
standing up for what she actually wants.
Okay, good. So, in this being a TV series, right?
Mhm.
That's actually like the subset of the overall bigger picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, which is completely fine. It's perfect that you picked a TV show because that way we can illustrate this, right? So, for that episode, it was about like it's centered around Pam or something. Would that be correct? I've seen it. I haven't seen all of the offices. It's funny. It's very funny, but
Yeah, so this one was actually about Michael trying to find his replacement, so replacing the boss.
mhm.
But the whole day he just had Pam taking notes on everyone else's performance when they're doing all these crazy tasks, so he can see which one of them could replace him, and Pam wasn't even considered. So it was kind of just her being on the sidelines all day.
Okay, so it's centered around like those two, whatever's going on between them two for that episode.
Mhm.
And that episode is, what is it, like 30 minutes or something, or 45 or?
Yeah, I think they're like 30.
Okay. So, but if you had to say like, what's The Office about? What would you say?
Oh, geez. A very dysfunctional group of coworkers who all secretly really like each other despite their conflicts.
Okay, great. That's good. So that's good that you can kind of see like an overarching broad idea behind everything. All right. And then remembering now, like you are a character within that construct, which is now broken down into episodes. And then we're in this particular episode that deals primarily with you and your relationship with the other guy, whatever his name is, right? Now, does everybody understand that it's almost like a GPS system, right? Like if you go into your car and you type in and you're like one digit off in your GPS system, it's going to take you somewhere else. So when you know where you're at, that's obviously going to help you act better because you know where you're at. You know what comes before that, you know what comes after it, and you know where you're at. So it's very informative. And that's why this exercise of understanding the story and in the context of a TV show, understanding like the broad, story, and then on an episodic level, it's very helpful for you. Do you get that?
Mhm.
Okay, good. So now what are two things that you have in common with Pam?
That she always does what's expected of her and she's tired of it.
Okay. Time to be a rebel. Okay, we got a rebel brewing in this group, everybody. Uh-oh. Okay, and then expected, and she's tired of it. Okay. What about two things that you don't have in common with her at all?
I've never broken off an engagement. I'm sure there's some deep emotional stuff there that I can't understand.
Like
Um,
even if you didn't want to do what you said you were supposed to do or something? Is that what you mean by engagement?
No, like actually like had a ring, had a fiance.
Oh, okay. Got it.
And then another one would be I guess I never Are you asking for like a character quality or like a something she's doing?
It could be anything.
And-
Like you'll like your homework tonight, we're going to get into like all the many, many different things that you're going to like dig out information.
Mhm.
So right now it could be anything, it's like she likes to drink Coca-Cola. I don't drink Coca-Cola. You know what I mean?
Okay, and she's like gunning for a new job. Well, I guess I've done that. This is harder than I thought it was.
Yeah. And this is good though. You're starting to think, you're thinking deeper into it.
Yeah.
So you can pick a surface level thing. She wears turtlenecks. I don't wear turtlenecks.
She has red hair. I don't have red hair.
There you go. Simple, right? It's almost like too simple sometimes. The way our mind is like, we're 5 steps ahead. So, but that was good. That was good. All right. So that is if you guys were in person, I would have us all do an exercise where we kind of stand back to back and we would literally do that exercise where we describe what the person was wearing and what they look like. Because half the time we talk to somebody, we can't even freaking remember what the hell their eye color was, what their hair color was. You know what I'm saying? Because we're not being as observant as we think we are. But as an actor, it's your asset to be super observant, to watch human nature and everything. All right, good job. Good job. Do you have any questions, Allison? Anything that came up for you?
I might be jumping the gun, but when you're deciding where to add inflection
Yeah.
and what lines to kind of just like say in a more flat way,
Mm-hmm.
have any kind of process for that advice?
Yeah. Yeah, it's easy actually. You can just pick and just underline and draw those things that I showed you and experiment and see what worked, what doesn't work. Or you could do what's called pick a verb. All right, everybody? So a verb is like, what's a verb? Just somebody shout out a verb.
Run.
Shout.
Shout, right? So somebody give me a line of dialogue. Anything.
That you're gonna shout or with shout in it?
We'll just say, give me a line of dialogue. Shout's the verb, so it has nothing to do with shout being part of the dialogue.
It's a good day.
It's a good day. right? So what did I do?
Shout out.
I used the verb shout with the dialogue, it's a good day. So you see how you do that, Allison?
Mhm.
You can use it for a sentence. You could, and there's so, I mean, how many verbs are there, right? There's like an infinite amount of verbs. So actually look at verbs. Type in verb and look at all the verbs out there, because now you have a lot of cool ammunition. Well, I don't know how to say that. How should I say that? Don't ask somebody how you should say it. Actually, just do an experiment. You see what I mean? Because every experiment that you do is going to yield you information. And the more information you have, then obviously the more you're building your craft, the more you're building your skill set. So verbs are very helpful to, you know, find things. They're very helpful to, you know, do. What's another verb? Somebody different.
Run.
It's a good day, right? Like I'm just acting like I'm running, right? So there's so many things that you can do, so many. And it's, again, too, it's like sometimes our mind is like, it's trained to be like limited in its thinking on some things. So we have to really practice being like really open and like in an unlimited way. That's a great question. Anything else?
Nope, all good.
All right. Good work. Give her a hand. All right, Dom, you ready?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Rehabilitated? Well, now let me see. You know, I don't have any idea what that word means. I know what you think it means. But to me, it's just a made-up word. A politician's word. Young fellas like yourselves, wear your suits, ties, and you have a job. So what do you really want to know? Am I sorry for what I did? It's not a day goes by that I don't feel regret. And no, not because I'm in here or because you feel I should. I look back on the way I was then. A young man who committed that terrible crime. I want to talk to him. Tell him how things are. Try to talk some sense into him, but I can't. That kid's long gone. And all that's left is this old man. And I got to live with that. Rehabilitation. That's just some bullshit word. So go right ahead. Stamp your forms and stop wasting my time. Because either way, I don't give a shit. See?
All right, everybody unmute themselves and give Dom a hand. All right, Dom, good job, man. So what's this story about?
I did the character, I apologize. Dominic Anapete, I was playing the character of Red, Shawshank Redemption.
Thank you.
This character was basically in front of the review board for parole for the 20th time. He was serving a 30-year sentence for murder. And today was his last day for parole.
Okay, so now look at the big story. This is a popular film. Did everybody see this film? No? A great film. Allison, Roger, watch it. Ben, we only ever really see your forehead. So did you?
Yeah,
did
yeah.
you
Well, I
see
watched
it?
it. Yeah.
You did? Okay, good. Is there a way you can bring your screen up a little bit? There you go. Much better. There we go. Yes, a lot of times we're just like, our view of Ben is just like this. Like, that's all we see. All right. So, Dom, that story, think about it a little bit more and then just come back with something else. Another, like a strong, think about the essence.
It's about redemption.
Redemption, yeah.
Yeah.
It's about redemption. Okay? So there's so much to redemption, and I know you know a lot about that. And you know, you want to kind of connect with that. If there was like a chord of energy, that would be the energy that you want to connect to, right?
Mhm.
Because the way that somebody else plays like a scene that you can describe from the movie is the way that somebody else plays a scene that you could describe from the movie, right? Or the way it was directed, or the what, like we're just using this material. We're just using the words, and we're putting our own artistic stamp on it, and we got to connect with like the biggest energy that's there, that's got the most juice. What about the story of redemption that you're telling? What about your character? Give us 3 things about your character that you are aware of.
My character Red was in prison for 30 years for
Okay.
killing his wife over a insurance claim. He pulled the brakes to have the car crash, but was unaware that 3 other women were in the car with his wife. And he was found guilty of murder and sentenced to 45 years in prison.
Okay. And okay, so he basically like he's a criminal, and
Yeah.
he perpetrated a criminal act where he murdered people
Yeah.
for insurance money. The son of a bitch. So, you ever do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And which is normal for the planet Earth. Good. Because if you were to say no, then I would be like, oh my God, who are you people?
Yeah.
You're actually good, solid people. What's going on? But okay, so yeah, you didn't do that before to anybody. What else is something that you could tell us about him?
That he grew up in prison.
Grew up in prison.
Yeah. I was in Kutztown. I did serve 4 days in prison, but that's a story for another day and some drinks. But yeah, I mean, I can relate to that. I was.
Good stuff. You got to be careful.
Well,
I had
wedding all the time. I have to bring up my Kutztown education. So
you got to be careful in Kutztown. I went to a Halloween parade there and almost got arrested because
yeah.
they were like, it was just, it's a weird town, man.
Yes, it is.
That I would like to hear what put you in Kutztown jail
4
for
days in quarantine. I had a jumpsuit and everything.
What were you doing? Like looking the wrong way or something? Or like
I played football and we lost, and I bent a sign, and the cops told me that he was going to get my my Yankee, and I'm not not making this up, my Yankee ass in prison, and they threw me in prison on a Friday night, and there's no courts on the weekend, and I had a problem getting a lawyer, so I was in there until Tuesday with the, in population. So I sold smokes, and
my God.
I had a bitch, so I was okay.
Oh my God.
I'm kidding. So
you immediately got in and you had a bitch, so it was like, all right,
that's what you got to do when you walk the yard.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So yeah, you didn't have that experience. Now what do you have in common with him again?
I think some things I have in common with Red is I think the ability to forgive myself.
Cool.
And he did that through the movie. He talks about that and how he shows regret every day. And that's something I know I forgave myself for things, and also to show compassion, because if you show compassion, you can forgive.
Awesome. So, I mean, that's like, see now, do you see how you're connecting at a very deep level with the material that way?
Yeah.
Because you have that experience, but now it's showing up in the movie, and people do, art imitates life. That comes up in your artistic life. That's going to come up. And you're an actor, but you're also like you're teaching other human beings like how to process emotions, because those that are not actors, and sometimes they see an actor and they're like, wow, how could you do that? Like it made me feel like I was living vicariously through that character that you were playing. Like, how do you do that? How do you access that? Like, where do you get that from? Right. And that's what came out of Dom's mouth. It's like he experienced it. And maybe at the time it was not something that was easy to experience, but you move along in your life, and it's like it becomes one of your assets. So keep that in mind. a lot of your life experience up to this point, if this is truly what you're meant for, is going to be usable by you, and you can certainly access it. So there's things that we'll get into: emotional recall, sense memory, things like that. And that's, what we're talking about. So Dom, questions that you have right now, any questions that you have?
When I was doing my lines, breathing really was something that I was starting to tighten up a little bit in the stomach, and I'm pushing, but I think I need to learn how to breathe doing lines, just so I don't, I want to be relaxed doing it. And I felt
Yep.
myself tensing up. Yeah.
Yeah. So breathing, man, is so important. That's why that meditation helps, but breathing out of your nose is really good.
Mhm.
Doing breathing exercises is good. If you do the IM meditation, that one that I put into the chat for you guys at the beginning, Wayne Dyer actually walks you through breathing when you do a meditation. So you kind of get to learn a little bit more about breathing or focus on your breathing. There's a lot of breathing techniques. I know my friend Maria has like a Boiteco or whatever it's called, breathing. So she's like teaching people how to breathe. I mean, it's like really powerful stuff, even though it's simple. It's like, of course, I'm a human. I got to breathe. But sometimes we forget to breathe. But if you remember to breathe, it's like you get more intelligent. You become more clever. You can see things that you didn't see. And it's all just taking some breath in, letting it out, like that exchange. So, yeah, you'll get over that too.
Yeah.
Get over that. All right. All right. All right. Good work. We're going to keep moving so we can get everything in and the homework. Give her a hand. Give Dominic a hand. Awesome. All right. Get a Reese. You ready to rock, man? All right. Here, hold on. We got to make sure you got sound. You're still muted. All right. Hold on. How about now? Can you talk into it? Let's see if we can hear you. Okay, faintly, really faintly hearing you right now.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's getting much better. So it looks like you may have to stand a lot closer to that,
Right.
whatever you're on, laptop
All right.
or whatever.
My name's Ghetto Reese, and my character is Jesse Christopoulos.
What's it from?
It's from Full House.
Who?
Full House.
Full House. Okay, cool. So do us a favor, get a Reese. Just be real loud because it is really hard to hear you. So you're going to have to actually kind of, amplify your normal speaking voice.
Is this better?
Yeah, it's a little better, but you really got to work it though. So keep pushing out, as much as you can.
All right. Give me a break. Don't hunt me. You waltz up in here 25 minutes late, and you expect some sympathy. I have cleaned the whole house and washed all your clothes and run a daycare center for the deviant. This one too, the dentist cavities. You're welcome. Do you realize that I have slaved over a hot stove so you can have a hot meal when you come home? Huh? Right. Sorry. Sorry does not change the fact that my chicken, tetrazzini, is all dried out. Ruined, I tell you. But do you have the common courtesy to call me and let me know you will be 25 minutes late? No. Well, I am not an animal. Wait, What's happening to you? None.
All right, good. Everybody unmute and pop on and give Get a Reese a hand. All right, good job, man. Good job. So what is this story about? This Full House, which is also a TV show, right?
Right.
What's
It's
it about?
unappreciated. It's about being unappreciated.
What was that again?
It's about being unappreciated.
Okay, so who's being unappreciated?
My character, Jesse.
Okay, so think about like the show in its entirety, right? Think about the big picture, like in a broad sense of the story.
Cleanness and togetherness.
Okay, good. So it's about a family, right?
Right.
And about togetherness. Like, so, you could also break it down into simple terms too. It's a good, everybody knows the show, right? Familiar with it? It's like trials and tribulations of a family, right? All the interesting things that happen. Do you get that? All right. And your character is Uncle Jesse? Jesse. Okay. So now identify with that, like a family. Like, what families are you a part of? What groups are you a part of, right? Identify that. Start to kind of churn, let your mind start to churn on that. Because now you're going to look and you're going to be like, okay, wait, I'm going to play a role inside of a family. Well, what families am I in? I'm in many. You're in a family that you were born into. Or whoever raised you. You're in a friend family. You're in a rap family. You're in you know what I'm saying? You're in several different families, right? You could be in, I don't know, maybe you're in a coconut cream pie cooking family where you all bake coconut cream pies. Who the hell knows, right? We all got different groups and hobbies that we're a part of. So now, what do you have? Just like everybody else, like what are like two things about Uncle Jesse that you have in common with him?
He's a person that's very aware of himself.
Self-awareness. Okay, good. Awesome. And what's one more?
He's very stubborn.
Stubborn?
Yes.
Okay. So give us an example of that. Why are you stubborn and why is he stubborn?
Well, the episodes where he was with his wife, when he wasn't divorced, she had a lot of good ideas as far as their family went, and he wasn't really trying to take her advice. He would try to do things his way, being bullied, and he would have to end up coming back by the end of the show and doing it her way. And with me, it's like that also. Like sometimes I be so headstrong on an idea that I want to do it this way, and sometimes I block out seeing it other people's way.
Got it. So yeah. So all right. What I'm hearing you saying, your audio is a bit kind of jumbled, man. So just see what you can do for next. That's much better, actually. See what you can do for next week, though. Test out, and this is just the thing you got to do. Test it out before you jump on with us. Make sure you test out all your equipment so that it's going to work for the call. That's in your best interest. You know what I mean? So you get the biggest. So it works out for you. So, okay. So what you just said, right, is that it has to do with like being kind of bullheaded and like maybe it's a little more challenging to see other viewpoints sometimes because you're firm focused in what you believe and you're kind of like, okay, that's the way it's going to be. And then someone else is like, yeah, but, and you're like, yo, but yourself, right? Like this is the way it is. All right. You got it?
Right.
So that is good that you're pointing that out and that you can see that. And what is the one that you said you have in common with him? Or I'm sorry, not in common with him?
Oh, well, he has a slick back. I don't have a slick back. I have braids.
A what?
He has a slick back, and I have braids.
Slick back and braid. Okay, good. All right, there you go. So all this stuff is completely usable, by the way. Wardrobe, hair and makeup is what it's called. Sorry. Tattoos, you know, like piercings, like what, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever the hell you're going to bring in, all these little details are necklace, you know? So that's something. All right. So that's good pointing those things out. What questions do you have right now, Get a Reese?
How can I get a slick back since you have the Uncle Jesse going on?
So you gotta, unfortunately, you have to break the strands of your hair because African hair is actually lattice-like. So you would have to, you know, an Afro pick, you know why it makes a popping noise? Because when
Right.
you push it through African hair, it actually destroys the hair at the follicle level. Caucasian hair is just a lot of single strands straight. So that's why you could comb it and it's straight. So you'd have to get your hair straightened, which is actual chemical process, which actually destroys your natural hair. So I don't advocate it, but hey, sometimes you got to do anything for the role. So, you know, if you got to do it, you got to do it. I know some hairdressers.
But no, other than that, Bernard, no, I have no questions, man. Just like I want to say more so that everybody did. First of all, everybody did a good job with monologue because, like again, it's hard to talk in front of people. So even though nobody's there, but we still here, it's like I understand that it's hard. So everybody did a good job. And just like I feel like you said, with taking the time with the monologue and feeling the person, because it's been a while since I've done like any like actual reading acting. It's more so like just on the spare, this free will. So now it's like the discipline of the acting. So it's like we do have to take our time with understanding the character and
Yes.
feeling that more so. Because the more we feel it, the more it comes out more natural, the more that it's not like forcing it, and it's almost becoming a part of us. Like what's the guy? Heath Ledger.
Yeah, Heath was great. You know, he was really good. So he went all in. It's a process, and yeah, you gotta show up, be on time. You know, I know you're running back and forth from the studio and stuff, but be on time. And that's exactly it. It's a process. The more you put into it, the more you're gonna get back out of it. And the more it will show you, more importantly, because it's alive. It's an art form, right? So it's alive, just like anything else is alive. It's got energy. So the more that you can put in, the more that you get out. Simple as that. All right. But all right, good work, man. Give him a hand. Good work. All right. And okay, so now we're going to. You didn't know you were going to get the instruction about the hair, did you?
I did not. But
That's because my good friend is one of my mentors, African history teacher, Kamawa Kenyatta, taught me that when I was in college. He has a book called Black Folks Hair. You should read it. It's interesting. And he taught me that. And we've been friends for a long time. And I took his class, and one time I couldn't make it because I was working or whatever. And he's like, he allowed me to ask the class if we could like meet at another time. And everybody was like, there was like 2 or 3 people that couldn't do it. And I was like, come on. I was like, okay, there's 2 or 3 people that can't do it. He said, what do I do now? And he's like, all right, this is what we're going to do. And this was at like St. Joe's. So this was like, you know, you missed 3 classes at St. Joe's, like you fail, right? So he basically, me and him put a deal together. So I didn't even have to show up at all to a class. I just read a couple books. One of them was Malcolm X, or the autobiography of Malcolm X. And then I wrote reports, you know, and I handed those in, and he gave me an A. So that was like between him and I. Like St. Joe's didn't know anything about it. It was funny. But he came to my screening actually with his family not too long ago. But that he wrote that book, Black Folks Hair, Secret, Shame, and Liberation. It's a good book
check
to
it out.
understand. Yeah, it's good. So, all right. So now I want to give you some homework because I know you guys love homework, right?
Yep.
Who doesn't love homework? Who doesn't love homework? Woo! You got to read Black Folks Hair. No, I'm kidding.
Right.
No, this is what you got to do because it was coming up. Okay, it was coming up. And what was coming up was like I was asking you these questions: who, what, where, why, when, how. And these are tools. And these are like if you were a cop, these are I guess a cop's not a right thing to use right now. If you're a fireman, if you were a fireman, right? And you have like a, like anything that you would need, your helmet, your fire like protective gear, you need like a hatchet to break through, like whatever it is that you need, the tool. Who is a tool? What is a tool? Where is a tool? When is a tool? Why is a tool? And how? So we've got who, what, where, when, why, and how. Does everybody have them written down? So everybody come up with, now you're going to work your monologues. You're going to start getting into your monologues. If you didn't already, think more about the story and think more about the character. Elaborate. The way you're going to make, I'm going to make it easy for you. For who, ask 2 questions about the story and 2 questions about your character. Create. So how would we create a who question? I could say, who wrote the story? Who are the main characters in this story? You can go say, who produced this? Who likes this? Who hates this, right? Because, there's always something that's good. Usually there's going to be people that hate it and love it, right? Contrast. Okay, now I'm going to go to my character. Oh, who does my character remind me of? Who is my character's best friend? Who is my character's mother? Who is my character's father, brother, sister, cousin? Everybody get that? So 2 questions with who for story and 2 for character. 2 questions for what for story and for character. 2 questions for where for story, for character. I'm just basically helping you build your mind so that you can start to really, have this mind. You got almost got to be like a detective as an actor. You're finding out information. So these 6 tools: who, what, where, when, why, how. 2 for the story, 2 for the character. Does everybody get that?
Yep.
Cut and dry. All right. So what are the 6 tools? Somebody just rattle them off.
Who, what, where, when, why, and how.
Got it. So if we're doing 2 for story, 2 for character, how many is that altogether that we got to have for next week?
24.
Exactly. So there's 24 questions that you're going to write. All right. I've had it as much as like 5 or 10, but I'm going to give you bare minimum for 2. If you want to go further, because the further you go, the more information you learn. Do you understand? So now you're like, if all of a sudden you're like, shit, I'm going to do 10 for who for the story and 10 for who for the character. Well, now you're going a lot deeper, which means you're going to show up a lot more powerful. Why? Because you're much more invested. You know more about the character that you're playing. If I asked you, if I said like, Allison, where were you when you were 10 years old? You're going to say Reading. No, but what were you doing at 10 years old? You remember?
What was I doing? I was playing a lot of soccer and going to school. That's about it.
There you go. So you were playing soccer, right? So Dominic, what were you doing when you were 24 years old?
I was in the Army.
In the Army. All right. Ben, what were you doing when you were 24? I'm just kidding. I know you're only 19.
I didn't hit 24 yet.
15. What were you doing when you were 15, Ben?
Playing basketball a lot, like every day.
Playing basketball. All right. Ghetto Reese, what were you doing when you were 8?
Going to detention in school.
What's that?
Going to detention in school.
All right. Perfect. Roger, what were you doing when you were 20?
Playing a lot of Frisbee.
There you go. So everybody can associate, we got a basketball, Frisbee, a soccer ball. We got the army and the fatigues. We got the detention slips, right? By whoever, you know, I had the same thing in Catholic school, man. It was like, oh my God, them people were nuts, them crazy nuns. Holy shit.
You feel
But
my pain.
yeah, but basically it did not take you long, right? But yet, if I ask you, well, tell me about the character, what do you have? It's like, you know, you have to think, right? But see, if you have to think, well, that means that you're not that familiar, right? So do you see how these tools help you to start to become familiar, right? And then where you go from there, it's not always cut and dry, black and white, and you don't always have to stay in the train tracks, right? You can elaborate. You can make it interesting. I mean, this is show business. All right. So for now, let's just focus on getting those down. If you want to go a little further, like Allison went further because she memorized it, which was good. All right. So if you want to go a little further, that's fine. But now we're starting to develop. Next week, we're going to introduce some more ideas on how to prepare the story and the character. Actually, we're going to go a little bit more deeper into the character preparation. We're going to do a take 2. So it's not going to be so confined to like, okay, I'm going to expect that you're going to use what we worked on last week, which was that visualization, right? Sometimes I don't bring that until the end. I don't know why. We talked about it last week because it just made sense. But really, like, that's going to be a superpower for you. If you can bring that crystal clear, laser focused visual in, you're going to stand apart. Because most people are distracted and most people are relying on the fact that they, you know, whatever, right? Not many people are like materializing a scene and keeping it in their mind so that it's crystal clear and like living and breathing it and bringing it into the room. Most people aren't doing that. All right. So, because visualization, it's not, you can't just say it. Oh yeah, I'll just do visualization. You have to work it. You got to get good at it. And it takes time. So we got the homework. We're going to keep up with the exercises. If you're finding yourself like 5 out of 7 or 3 out of 7, like just commit to it. It's 6 weeks. So like really just dive deep. I'm telling you, you're not going to be disappointed. You know, you're not going to be disappointed. You know, for example, like the one guy I was telling you about, he like 2 weeks ago, he had like a bad day on our training call. It's like I have a small group training in this one company. And, you know, he's like, I'm not doing it. I almost smacked him through the camera. I'm just kidding. But then he doubled down and then he saw the relevance of what was said. And then he did $100,000 deal in the last week. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, so it like what the playing field that you're in is like, I want to move to LA. I want to get a speaking role. I want to do this. I want to do that. And it's completely possible. Completely possible, but you've got to energize the possibility and you got to stay focused on it. All right. So get that homework in, get these exercise rocking. If you have any questions or anything, it's really cool if you bring it on to the mentorship group call, because that way everybody gets the benefit. And those of you that have been on that call, you see how it feels good to help each other through that, you know, and we have a very diverse group. So it's very cool. You know, it's a very cool thing that we're all committed to that. But other than that, is there any questions? How can I help you in the last couple minutes here? Roger, yes.
Yeah, I was going to ask a question about the tools piece and the 2 questions per story and per character. Especially, I guess, for the 2 questions per the character, you know, at a certain point, you probably run out of stuff that you can discern from the text. And so at that point, it's basically just like decisions that you're making as the performer, correct?
Correct. Yeah, you're going to use your imagination. All right. So, but however, you know, you get all that information that's there for you. So your imagination is kind of primed up because you have a lot of inspiration. And then the cool thing is when you start, you know, linking your imagination in by like a bridge, right? And then with your imagination that you come up with is like, it just kind of makes sense. It serves the story.
Right.
It serves the words. It serves your character, right? And now you're rocking, because that's exactly the way excellent business people operate. They're not like optimizing it. Oh, I want to make it better for me. They're like, okay, how can I make it better for the customer? How can I make it better for the customer? Right. So it's kind of like that in a way.
Yeah, and I guess to extend on that, my question there really is, a lot of these characters, I mean, all these characters that we're doing monologues on have been performed already by someone, right?
Correct.
And so when we're doing these questions about like our character, is it necessarily that we're trying to ask questions and answer them with like, so I think Ben Affleck played Chucky in Good Will Hunting, right? Am I asking questions and answering with the characteristics of Ben Affleck that I see on screen?
Great question. Great question. Absolutely 100% not. You are actually and it's good if you don't even see him doing it because they're powerful energies and they can sway you. I want you to come up with it independent. That's the whole goal here, is for you to develop your artistic choices. All right. What Ben did was what he thought. And then at the same time, he was in a collaboration with the director, and the director was helping to direct him. And he was trusting that the director was leading him in the right direction. But since he's a trained professional actor, he can let go and go in that direction. Right. But he also, because he is a director too, he's probably brought a lot of really cool ideas to the table, that becomes a lot of fun when you start working with people that trust you. And then it's more of a pure collaboration. Right. But, you don't overstep your bounds. Like, you're the actor, that's the director. Like, let them have the final say. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you really want to direct, then just go freaking direct. Like, don't try to steal somebody's thunder just because, whatever. And sometimes what you think is best is like, maybe they know that, but they just don't want to do that. So you got to pick your battles wisely, and especially in this creative field, right? You got to be diligent and be respectful. It's all possible. If you want to eventually be the director, it's possible. You can do that, get your own project, but just be respectful. And it doesn't mean, keep your mind, or keep your mouth closed. It doesn't mean that. You can speak up, but just, be respectful, right? Know when to speak up and when to, like, you're not going to go on your first movie and be like, oh, no. This is not the way it's going to go. It should be going like this, right? Like, that would be, you'd really piss a lot of people off because they did a lot to get there. You know what I'm saying? But it's a great question, man. Great question. Don't just ignore them. Ignore Brad Pitt, ignore Meryl Streep, ignore them all. Appreciate them, but that's their performance. But as long as you tell the story and you serve the script and you understand it and it makes sense, you're doing your job. Does that help? Awesome. Good question. A lot of good questions, Roger, tonight. Thank you. Who else has got a question? All right. So you know what you got to do? Let's get it done. And if you want to jump on the mentorship call, do it. You got like 6 free weeks on that when you sign up. So I would just do it if you're not in it already, guys. Look at me overselling the mentorship group. But all right. I hope tonight was good. Have an awesome week. Enjoy whatever you're going to enjoy. If you got a pool, hang out in the pool. I went swimming today. It was nice. Oh my God. It's been freaking hot out here. We were having like a heat wave, aren't we, or something?
Yep.
It's getting pretty hot out there. But it ain't Florida hot, though. It ain't Florida hot. You guys like the heat, or do you like the winter? What do you like better?
Winter.
Winter?
You could listen.
Summer.
You could snuggle better.
It was so hot, like at the ice rink last night. There was like pools of like water. I mean, it was so freaking hot. It was like humid in there because it's been humid for multiple days in a row. But yeah, it was interesting. It was like playing pond hockey. It was crazy. But all right, good work, everybody. Thank you.
Good stuff, man. Appreciate you. All right, guys. Enjoy your weekend. All right, be good.